you guys doing? I'm Marco, and this is my 2023 Z Preformance. Just got it a couple days ago, and I'm pretty familiar with the Z platform, so I just wanted to give everyone like a somewhat review. I gave it a couple days to kind of set in. Piece of the car at least. Very different from the other Zs I've owned, but it does have a lot of similarities. I just kind of wanted to show. Now, it's not a new platform by any means, but this is definitely a new platform for me. I am more used to the VQ platforms coming from my 350 and 370Zs, but this has definitely been a really cool experience so far to play around with this motor. Definitely my favorite part of the car is the interior. You have the two-tone blue with black interior, of course, 6-speed manual. Very, very comfortable ride. Feels very similar to my older 370. As you can see, the door cards are the same, but definitely it's a nice refresh with the new infotainment system. You know, 370s, this should look familiar to you. This is basically the same exact thing as the 370 back from '09. Now, of course, the R32 GTR inspired steering wheel. Same stocks as the 370Z as well. I'm not sure if these seats were in another car, but they are very nice. They're like a suede synthetic leather. Blue really does pop. Camera does not do it justice. I think this for sure is the best angle in the car. Love the 300ZX inspired taillights. Exhaust tips are pretty cool as well. They have like a drill out in them, which is pretty interesting. And of course, you have the original Z logo from back from the Datsun era. I opted for the two-tone black with the blue. Of course, you can do a all blue or all solid color. I think the black splits it up pretty nicely. Something pretty different on the car is the trunk release is actually right behind here. Also, there's a switch on the inside. Again, if you're familiar with the 370 platform, it is basically the same exact trunk because it is the same chassis at the end of the day. More than enough space for everything you need. I threw my camera bag, a couple other bags earlier into it. It's no problem with it. Same cross member as the 370 as well. This being the performance model, you do have the upgraded wheels. These are the 19-inch raised wheels with the Akebono brakes. Again, Akebono are the ones that a lot of 370 people would put on the car if they didn't have them on already. But wheels look great. I already do have wheels coming in, but it is a nice touch for sure. Also, being the performance model, you do have the little extra lip spoiler here, or whatever you want to call it. I think it does help the lines a lot. It kind of looks flat without it, in my opinion, but it is, again, a very nice, subtle touch. Obviously, it being a stock car, it is very high up. That's almost 3 fingers there, 4 fingers probably. That will be getting dropped decently soon, but for now, it does look pretty good. A lot of attention to the car for sure. Was not expecting this car to get as much attention as it has. But it's been pretty interesting to see people's reactions about it. I think this is one of the best views on the car. The silver blade, as they call it, the katana. It does give a nice contrast to the blue and to the black. And of course with the original Datsun Z logo on there, which is a pretty cool touch as well. This car is really, it feels very retro to me. It's a really great feeling car overall, but especially with the lines of the car. Going along with the retro look, it does have the little bump out like the original Datsuns did. This paint color is the Syrian blue metallic. This is a color you kind of have to see in person to really get the full experience, but it is really, really beautiful in person. Now, sitting in the cockpit is very comfortable. Like I said, could easily do a road trip on this. Have the 9-inch display. So the startup screen is pretty cool. Of course, this is all customizable on here. Boost, G-force, upshift indicator, which obviously you see the shift light on the top. And then you do have tire pressure. Obviously, we're not driving right now, so you can't really see that. This is the sport mode. There are a couple different views. This is the normal view, if you're just driving normally. Obviously, I like sport mode the best, but a lot of this is all customizable on the front. That's normal. And the enhanced mode. Again, this is just another customizable one. So something pretty new to me at least. It has the Apple CarPlay, which is really, really nice. I don't have my phone connected currently, but it is a pretty user-friendly interface. I don't really have any complaints with this sort of interface. It is, like I said, I come from a 370 and a 350 where this kind of stuff wasn't really in that unless it was aftermarket. So it's a welcome thing by me. Now, differing from Sport and Performance model, the Sport will have a 1-inch smaller display. So this is a 9-inch display. The Sport will have a 8-inch display and without the Bose speaker system. Obviously, due to copyright, I won't be able to play any music, but take my word on it, the sound quality is very, very good. In typical Z fashion, it has the 3 gauges on the top, the regular battery voltage, has turbo speed and turbo pressure. Something new that I was very excited about is it does have 2 cup holders. You have one here, and you slide this one back. You have your second one here. Nice thing about it is it doesn't take up any more space, because this piece will just slide back and forth, and it's still open in either position. In typical Z fashion, it does have the cigarette lighter right on the bottom underneath the passenger side footwell. On top of that, there is one right in the glove box compartment as well. Since it is a 370 chassis, it does have the same little pocket back here if you want to throw any of your extra stuff. And then you do have the 2 little shelves right in the back here. My first impressions of the clutch, it is very springy. Obviously, it being a brand new car, it's going to feel like that, but it feels a little bit different than the other clutches I've driven in my time driving. This being the performance model, this does have the S mode. S mode will be right here on top of the shifter. Now it will do launch control, and it will do the auto rev matching. Now, this being a Z, of course, there's not a lot of space right under here. Can't even fit the owner's manual in there, so you can just throw your little things in there if you needed to. Nissan knows their customers pretty well. They got the traction control button right here, really easy access to turn on and off. I do love this steering wheel, like I said before, based on the R32 GTR. It's a very nice shape. This little break in the wheel here is really nice. I don't know, it's just something kind of new to me, as it has the power seats, of course, really easy to use. My 350 had this, my 370 did not. And of course, it's on both sides. On this side over here, you can't really see it, but it does have the lumbar support, and it will raise the seat for you as well. And just like the 370, it has the 3 little buttons here. You have your temperature controlled seats, which is pretty nice, and then of course a hatch release, which is pretty cool. I'll be honest, this car really has exceeded a lot of my expectations, but if I had to pick something to complain about, I'd probably be complaining about these lights here. These are just your traditional yellow lights that you normally find in any other Nissan model, way older. Obviously this is a very quick fix, but I thought it would have been nice for them to throw that in from the factory. Just makes it look a little bit more modern, a little bit more sporty in my opinion, if you have the bright white lights. But again, that's a pretty easy change. Again, I am kind of reaching on this, but another complaint I would have is probably they could have definitely done another form of gas door, like a non-lidded one, or however you'd call that. I know a lot of the newer Hondas just have the metal part, which just stick it right in. This is the same thing you'd have gotten on a 350, which is really no problem, but if I had to pick something to complain about, that would probably be another thing. Now, my driving experiences with it so far has been pretty fantastic. I got it with 6 miles. I'm at 120 or so now. I don't have much experience, like I said, with the VR30 platform, if any at all. So I was very pleasantly surprised with the power band. Turbos seem to spool up very quickly. Again, it is a very easy car to drive. Maybe coming from a Z34 chassis before with my old 370, it feels very similar handling wise to that. Now, I believe, don't quote me, but this has an electric steering rack, which I could be wrong on that, but steering on it is very light. You can just, with one hand, like no problem, like you're not going to overclock it or anything like that. But I have noticed, you got to be very careful when you're hitting the gas, because if you are on, if you're turning or something like that, the back end will kick out extremely easily. Obviously, Nissan has the stability and traction control built right into the car, which is nice. Obviously, you could turn that off with the button I showed you before, but it does spin tire pretty often, no matter what kind of speed you're going. Now, this is pretty new for me. I'm usually just behind the camera, really never in front of it, but I've always had a passion for video making, just another creative outlet. Obviously, if you know me, I really do a lot more photos than videos, but I've seen a lot of reviews of the car online, and I kind of wanted to get my own opinion on it before I really started to talk about the car. And as I said before, it really has surpassed all my expectations of the car. Like, every box I wanted to check, it checked, and it really has been fantastic so far. I'm really loving this car. It gets a lot of attention, is a lot more than I expected. But I guess it just comes getting a new car. As for plans for the car, I do have some wheels coming in already. I'm sure everyone knows TJ Hunt. I bought his old TE37s off of his Z. I'm going to put those on after I get coilovers, but those should be coming in later this week. I'm looking to do coilovers. I want to do more of a track focus setup. I'm not a big stance guy. I don't mind stance, but it's just not my personal preference. AMS has quite a few parts for it already, which are pretty cool. I'll probably end up doing those later down the line. And of course, throw an exhaust on it. This car is very quiet. Now in the cabin, you do hear a lot of the induction noise, which is pretty cool. Again, that's very different for me because I am not used to having a turbocharged or twin turbocharged car. So it is a cool experience. Again, coming from BQs, it's a very different experience with the familiarity of the chassis, which is pretty cool. I'll try to get some driving clips here and there. I'm getting my GoPro all set up, but just, I guess, be on the lookout for new videos. I don't know. I'm not going to really post frequently, I don't think. This is more really just a fun thing for me to do. It gives me something to do in the day, especially in this great weather. I did recently move. I'm from Chicago originally, but I'm in South Carolina now. So, be a lot of exploring new roads, exploring new areas. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an adventure with the new car for sure. And, yeah, if you'd like to follow along, follow me on Instagram, Marco Mech, or subscribe here. Again, I'm not doing this for, like, a job or anything like that. It's something I've always liked to do and something I was already pretty passionate about. So, of course, I'm still learning with anything. So, if you have any comments that you'd like to leave, constructive criticism, anything, I'm really open to it. Just let me know. Give me your thoughts on the car itself. This is one of those cars that I really needed to see in person before I was kind of sold on it. Again, I've been waiting for this car for almost 2 years now. 2021 is when I put my money down originally. But with as a lot of people know, the transmission issues and everything like that, it did take much longer to get here than I expected. But I'm very lucky to have one of the first ones around. So it's been a pretty cool car so far.